You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Later with Mo Kelly.
From executive producer Leonardo DiCaprio, the History Channel's documentary event, Sitting Bull, explores the remarkable life and accomplishments of the iconic Lakota chief. It is a special two-night event on May 27th and 28th. Sitting Bull examines the mid-19th century westward expansion of American settlers and their encroachment upon native territories. From it rose the legendary Lakota leader.
Sitting Bull grew up in a time of prosperity for the Lakota people.
But people started flooding the West.
Native people see it as an invasion from the East.
This is not some distant historic figure. This is a real person who had a transformative effect.
Joining me right now on the show is the star of Sitting Bull, Michael Spears. Michael, thank you for coming on tonight. How are you?
Hey, Matalo, I'm doing well. Thank you.
That's fantastic. You are a member of the Lakota Nation, for those who don't know, born in South Dakota. Walked the same paths that Sitting Bull did. What were the stories like that you heard growing up?
Growing up, I got to hear some of the relationships that he had. You know, where his mother was from, where he came from, and why he did what he did.
When you heard about what he did, like, for example, most people who may not be familiar with him know about the Battle of Wounded Knee and its legacy. The battle was between the U.S. Army and the Lakota people, where some 300 Lakota men, women, and children were killed. How were those stories conveyed to you growing up?
Being so close to Oglala country, where Wounded Knee took place. You know, we every year around the anniversary of those times, you know, we'd gather, and my father and mother, grandparents would share those stories and tell us, you know, what happened and why they happened. You know, spotted elk or Bigfoot was thought to be the next leader as Sitting Bull, so that's why they went after him so hard. You know, they thought he was gonna be the next chief and rise up, and so they, you know, the cavalry and the government chased him down, and hence the massacre at Wounded Knee.
That's a great point that you made. Sitting Bull, getting back to the show, is part documentary, part dramatization.
Yes, it is.
As much as you were involved, how does this go about telling the most important events in his life as a man, as a leader, as a chief?
Well, you know, he is one of our brightest icons of diplomacy. He was a ceremonial chief. He was a holy man. You know, in his later years, he didn't actually participate in the fighting because he couldn't. Being a holy man, you know, you're a proponent of life, and even in the show, you're going to see his telling of his vision prior to the Battle of Little Bighorn, or Greasy Grass as we know it. And you're going to see how it affects him emotionally and personally to talk about, and realize that there's going to be so much death, you know, and not only with the Lakota people, but on both sides, you know, and he wasn't a proponent of war, but he was an incredible strategist, and he was very spiritually grounded and connected individual, which you're going to get to see.
In this time of no real direct communication, yes, there were newspapers, but I was assumed that was more on the Army side and the settler side. How did the legend of Sitting Bull spread? He was talked about in newspapers, but how did he spread among the Lakota Nation and beyond? How did that word travel?
So in our histories, historically, we provide our youth, the people with an oral history, or a wintercom is what we call it, and we would have gatherings where even here where I'm at in Montana, we have the headwaters. There's places, sacred spaces, including the Black Hills, where we would gather and have our annual Sundance, or wiping of tears, or our Hunkapi ceremonies, our making of relatives. And so we had sacred spaces that Sitting Bull fought for, and Crazy Horse, and all of our leaders fought for these spaces that we have used over the last, hundreds of thousands of years to have, they say, I don't like to use that word powwow, but it's a contemporary word and actually a Paiute word, powwow. It's a gathering. So we would have gatherings of ceremonies to tell who lived and who died and why and what happened. So we would keep our records on hides. There was a job of a historian of each tribe to have those records and to share them orally and pictographically.
I know there must be a lot of expectation and a lot of responsibility in portraying someone like Sitting Bull. Now, I said in the beginning that it was executive produced by Leonardo DiCaprio, but there are a lot of people, correct me if I'm wrong, from the Lakota Nation who are also involved with this piece. Is that true?
Yes. That gave me a big sense of pride, walking onto the location and set, seeing the Lakota commentators, seeing the Lakota producers. And, we've got Native historians telling the story. We've got representation not only from Lakota, but the Crow, the Hunkpapa, we have representation from all walks of life that are getting to share in their knowledge.
Does any of this make you just a little bit nervous as a person? Because there's so many people tuning in with their own preconceived notions of how the story should be told. There's always going to be some sort of pushback. Does that weigh on you in any way?
Oh, yes, it does. Just as a person, you want to have a good relationship with everybody. You don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. And I try to do the best that I could in my own research, my own connection, asking permission through ceremony to play this role. I've already felt some of that pushback on social media, with some of the relatives of Sitting Bull himself, and I definitely feel the weight and the responsibility of playing such an important character or person, chief, relative.
Do you think that you will be sitting watching as it airs the first night and the second night, or are you someone who doesn't necessarily need to see yourself on screen as it airs and premieres?
Yeah, I guess I'm one of those guys who doesn't really like to watch himself, but I have some relatives that put together a watch party, and I'm gonna be sitting there with some family and relatives, and we're gonna get to watch it together.
That's good. It's nice to hear that your family and friends will be supporting you, because I know, especially with social media, it can really, really be difficult on occasion. Sitting Bull, a special 2-night event on May 27th and 28th. History Channel, starring my guest, Michael Spears, as Sitting Bull. Mr. Spears, thank you for coming on this evening. I salute you and celebrate you and wish you nothing but success in the future.
Thank you so much, from my heart to yours, and I hope you all enjoy and come away with some awareness and a little bit of knowledge and love.
Today, we're honoring our nation's heroes on Memorial Day with some of the best of Later with Mo Kelly on KFI AM 640, live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Now to the KFI 24-hour newsroom for the latest.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640, it's Later with Mo Kelly, live iHeartRadio app. Very quickly, we were really over last segment, but that was really important to have that moment. I have said a number of times, and you've let me know that I'm, hateful, that I'm animal cruelty. I've said many times, if I see a coyote in my neighborhood and I have a chance to run it down, I'm running its ass down every single time. Every single time. Why? Because I have 2 small dogs. They are a predator. They will kill my dogs. They will kill a small child if they have the opportunity. And because of the laws, you can't actually do anything to them, and they won't do anything about them. So yes, if it comes down to me or the coyote it's always going to be me. And I'm not going to go out of my way to ensure the life and livelihood of a coyote. I have a freaking coyote den behind my house, and I show the videos to Tawala all the time. I'm talking like 3 or 4 at the same time right behind my backyard. I'll kill them all.
That's because you're a monster.
I am.
Absolute unfeeling monster.
That's right. If you're a coyote, you should fear me. You should fear me. You should run and hide.
Hey, I was just sent another warning by the coyotes of Altadena because I recently chased them in my vehicle coming home one night, and they left yet another dead animal in our yard. They don't do this in anyone else's yard, but because I chased them in my vehicle, they left a half-eaten possum right near where I park.
Wait a minute, is this like a fish head in your bed?
Basically, they are sending me a warning. I don't know how they remember my vehicle or know where I live, but they leave these animal carcasses right next to where I park.
Marking their territory.
I sent you a photo, Tawala, asking if you recognized the coyote in question. It had a kind of a sneaky look.
They all look alike.
Oh, no, you're talking about the ones that tried to get me the other night when I left.
Because they know where you work now, too.
Yeah, because they're downstairs. And look, I know it sounds like a joke, but there were 2 coyotes, and they were stalking me. We can get video from security in this building. You will see me downstairs facing off 2 coyotes as I slowly backed away.
Well, the photo I sent you was of a coyote with a dynamite plunger.
Mark, that was so cruel.
Very quickly, the reason why we're talking about this is because Tommy Lee's wife, Brittany Ferland, you might have seen the video. They had it at KTLA where a coyote attacked their dog, and, thank goodness the dog was not killed. They're able to save the dog. But also, here's the real takeaway. Broad daylight. It's not like they're nocturnal. It's not like they're only coming out at night. They're coming out all day long. Why? Because stupid mother fathers like you keep feeding them. Because you think they're pets, because you think they're cute, because you think they're stray dogs. Like, oh, look at the coyote. It looks like it needs something to eat. Here, little coyote. Or you leave out your trash cans too long. So they look, the ones in my neighborhood, they come out every Thursday morning like, it's time to eat. Because they know. They know.
And she even said she happened to be right at the door. If she wasn't there, that thing probably would have been killed.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes. Look, I don't care who hears it. I don't care about animal control, whatever. If I see a coyote and I have a chance to take it out, I'm going to take it out, and I will take my chances with the legal system. I will claim self-defense. Your Honor, I thought the coyote had a weapon. It was dark. Maybe it was a phone. Maybe it was a sandwich. Maybe it was Skittles or iced tea. I don't know. All I know is it's a coyote, and they're known troublemakers, and they shouldn't have been in my neighborhood. I don't know. Can they prove they live in this neighborhood? I live in a gated community.
I don't think they're chipped, but animal control, I need you to reach out to me at Mr. Mo Kelly because I need you to come and get that possum carcass.
Why are you always putting my social media out there?
Because that's where they need to reach out to me to get
me
so they can pick out
it's always
this
bad
animal
enough.
carcass.
You don't understand. When you're doing SoCal Saturday, you would say something about like reparations or something, and I would get hate mail over something you would say. And I have to remind these fools, like, I've never talked about reparations on my shows. Like, I heard you Saturday night.
Yes.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
I love it.
I've never talked about reparations on this show. Do I have thoughts? Sure. But I've never talked about it on my show, and it's not like it's proxy. Well, you ought to send this to him. No, I don't send along racial hate mail to people. What do you think this is?
Quit trying to dodge everything. I thought it was especially offensive a couple segments ago when you were talking about grabbing your wife's caboose in the gym.
No, that was you.
Oh.
That was you. No, here's a true story. Here's a true story.
You already forgot it was him.
No. Michael Crozier, very early on in the Mo Kelly show, okay, he was talking about something, and he used the CR word talking about himself. I'm not going to say it because they'll say that I was the one who said it.
I don't know what you mean, though.
Ritz.
Right.
What?
Saltines.
Oh.
Okay. He said it on air. I got so much hate mail. Like, Mo, I can't believe you're such a racist. You call white people, da, da, da. I said, it wasn't me. It was Michael Crozier. And Michael Crozier got such a kick out of that with his laugh. Like, no, it was not funny, Michael.
I know you get kind of quiet when I refer to myself as white trash every now and then.
And every time I say it, that's you, Mark Ronner, because they assume it's me. That type of verbiage is not even in my lexicon.
I think one time I referred to myself as a white devil, and you got kind of weird about that, too.
Absolutely. Because I would never say that. I don't think that, and I don't think the humor translates. Not coming from me.
There's nothing funny about it, no.
But let's be clear, that last reference was made by Mark Ronner, and don't edit that out of the podcast, Twala. I know how you get down.
Mo and I sound very similar, so there's really no way to tell, is there?
Wait, remember I know, we're over. Remember the hate mail I got from the guy who said this was an all-black show? Yes!
Well, it's like 3/5.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Fair enough.
KFI AM 640, we're live everywhere. The iHeartRadio app. That was pretty good.
Like that?
This is the best of Later with Mo Kelly, kicking off Memorial Day weekend on KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Now on Later with Mo Kelly, Mark talks about movies and TV, pontificates about pop culture. Ronner Report with Mark Ronner. Mark Ronner right now. Mark Ronner right now. Mark Ronner right now. Report with Mark Ronner.
It's Later with Mo Kelly on KFI AM 640, live everywhere on the iHeart app. I'm Mark Ronner. This is the Ronner Report. This part of the show isn't the best of. It's live. I'm mostly alive. Foosh is here with me because...
Hello.
Thank you for that. Because Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, is out for the big holiday weekend, and you need to know the score. Here's a little bit of the trailer.
Our lives are not defined by any one action. Our lives are the sum of our choices.
Everything you are, everything you've done, has come to this.
When the need for certainty is absolute and the odds are deemed impossible, the mission falls to him.
Yes, it does. That's all we're going to play of that because there's a lot of running. It's a largely visual trailer, and radio, not so much a visual medium. Now, listen, you almost can't review Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning like a normal movie. It's too much of a huge event with too much of a huge star that maybe only years down the line are we going to be able to take a real critical look at it and see how much it holds up. But let's just come clean here. There's movies that we were into in the moment, but we're kind of embarrassed of now. Foosh, I'll admit this. I think I have a positive review of at least one of the Star Wars prequels I'm a little embarrassed of now. Maybe all of them, in fact. We were just so happy to have new Star Wars, and we were in an audience, and there was air conditioning, and I don't want to talk about it anymore. Or that Ben Affleck Daredevil movie. I said I don't want to talk about it. Anyway, right now I'll say you'd have to be kind of an a-hole to look down your nose at Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. It's a huge amount of fun. It's far from perfect, but the fun parts are such massive cinema, crazy spectacle that you're just going to see it, okay? You have to. But you'd be forgiven if you didn't like the first few in the series, and we can argue about this if there's time. Greg Morris, if you remember him from the original Mission Impossible TV show, he walked out of the first one of the movies and called it an abomination. And he was right, especially if you loved that TV show. Making Mr. Phelps the bad guy, go straight to hell with that. The TV show ran for 7 seasons, and it was based on a French caper movie called Topkapi, Topkapi. It's really good. It was tense, without much dialogue. And the Mission Impossible TV series had a lot of the same aesthetic as Star Trek, and they were both made by Desi Liu. That's right. Lucy gave us both Mission Impossible and Star Trek. The second movie wasn't much good either. The third one kind of sucked too. They started getting good around maybe the fifth one. You just had to accept that it wasn't going to be like the show, and it was going to be more a series of extreme stunts strung together with some exposition. So by the time of the one where Tom Cruise is swinging around the skyscraper in the Middle East and hanging on to the side of a plane, they'd gotten a lot better. They also show Cruise has no fear of heights, and this new one really confirms that. Wow. By the way, another reason the early Mission Impossible movies sucked is a reason they should have been great, and credit to Cruise for at least taking a stab at this. They wanted each Mission Impossible movie to be from a different, distinctive director in his style. So we got one from De Palma, from John Woo, from J.J. Abrams, which would make a good one of those, one of these things is not like the other in Sesame Street. You remember that? Then Christopher McQuarrie took over, and he's been the director since Rogue Nation in 2015. He worked with Cruise on the Reacher movie, which we all sort of disavow now because of the Alan Ritchson series. And he also did a good little crime movie called The Way of the Gun. Put that on your list if you haven't seen it. Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. The first part was Dead Reckoning. That came out 2 years ago. I'll tell you how much you really need to know before you see this new one. Nothing. If you go through them all from the first one like Mo did, then that's fine. You're into masochism. Doesn't hurt anybody else. Go to town. But there are plenty of references to the early movies in this one and some good and not so good attempts to tie them all together, which reminded me of the clumsy way they tried to do that in the awful last couple Daniel Craig James Bond movies. Now, Dead Reckoning involved a world-threatening artificial intelligence called the Entity, and in part 2, they're trying to stop the Entity from destroying the world, and really playing up Ethan Hunt as the savior, which you kind of heard a little bit of in the trailer. That sets off my cheese-o-meter, but like I said, the movie's not perfect. In fact, the first act is so talky and portentous and irritating that I was surprised it survived in the finished movie. Some tedious, clumsy stuff. That's when you go to the bathroom. We got to the theater for a 12:55 a.m. show, and we were there until well after 4 a.m.
Good Lord.
That's because we're dedicated. Final Reckoning features a minor character from the very first movie, and I won't spoil that, but what a cool jackpot to bring this guy back and give him a major role. I hope it gives him a career boost. There is a callback to that Mr. Phelps is the bad guy thing, which, again, I hated, and the callback's unnecessary. But by that time in the movie, that reveal, you just need a cigarette, and you're not going to care. What else do you want to tell me? It was actually Mrs. Phelps all along? Go ahead. Now, there are a couple major sequences that, even if you hate everything else, these are going to make you feel like you're at a capital M movie. You've seen some highlights in trailers of Cruise on a Plane and other things, and those have been playing for a long time, but I promise you, you haven't seen anything close to all of it. I was cackling a couple times. I almost grabbed Tawala's arm. I think I clapped like a carnival seal a couple times, too.
Oh, babe.
It's so much fun. The villain is played by Isai Morales, and it's pretty unmemorable as a villain, but he does look like he's having a good time. In his defense, they don't really give him much to do in this movie except to be a delivery device for some of the action. They go big in Final Reckoning. They got to save the world. I don't know how final this one really is for the series. If there are any more, I wouldn't mind them going a little smaller, like the old TV show. Go to some completely made-up little South American dictatorship where it's all white American actors in whatever kind of makeup American presidents use these days in a constant sheen of sweat. Those are on Paramount Plus now. You can watch them. Top Copy, the movie that they were inspired by, that's on Amazon Prime. They aren't full of extreme stunts at all, but they're great fun. They're tense, and they're good to watch if you want more when you finally stagger out of the Final Reckoning and use the bathroom after about 3 hours. Okay, now, Foosh, unless you have something to add, this is where Mo would usually throw back to me for a news break.
I was just going to ask, so, okay, you don't have to watch you don't have to watch the other ones, but what about watching what is it, Dead Reckoning?
Yeah, I think at the beginning they were going to call this one Dead Reckoning Part 2, but they changed it to Final Reckoning, so we don't know if it's the end of the series or what. You could watch it, but if you don't watch it, it's not going to affect at all how you understand the plot or appreciate all the set pieces. If you're a completist, whatever. I mean, I don't know what your tastes in movies are because you and I argue off the air about, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and whatever else, and to the point where we doubt each other's sanity. But any spy action movie, I'm going to watch it.
So I guess the final question is, was there a post-credit scene?
There's not a post-credit scene. It's not a Marvel movie. Okay. And Tawala and I actually made sure to stay, even though we're like holding up our phones to each other. It's after 4 a.m. We stayed just to make sure there's nothing.
There's nothing there.
All right, now, Foosh, this is now your mission. Should you choose to accept it, go ahead and throw to me for a news break.
All right, let's go right back to Mark Ron in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Well done.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
We don't have to go to the theaters to entertain ourselves with a movie. For example, I was in Saturday night just watching Speed Racer, the original cartoon from episode 1, watching them all in sequential order.
Yeah.
And I had a ball. It's on Crunchyroll, which is available through Amazon Prime. I was thoroughly entertained.
And I didn't even know you had a vape pen.
I don't vape.
Okay.
Mark, you can watch Speed Racer without being imbued.
Okay.
Or imbibing.
Well,
or
whatever you say.
Chewing.
No, sure.
No, that's not my thing. I was just sleepy. I guess unless you consider like tart cherry gummies as some sort of, mood altering, mind altering.
No, not so much. No. Oh, there you go.
It's the best. Rev that engine. Everybody sing. Here comes Speed Racer. He's a demon on wheels. He's a demon and he's going to be chasing after someone. They said demon twice. I don't know why.
He's gaining on you, so you better look alive. He's busy revving up the powerful Mach 5. And when the odds are against him and there's dangerous work to do, bet your life, Speed Racer.
See it through. Go Speed Racer.
Go Speed Racer. Go Speed Racer. Go.
I'm not even going to ask Kiana. I know she has no idea what this is. None.
It'll just depress us.
I know. Just say it. Speed Racer, I've heard of it.
Oh, I've heard of it.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on. But when you watch something like Speed Racer as an adult, well into your adulthood, and you look at it through adult eyes, it looks very different from when I saw it as a child, of course. Of course, the dialogue is corny and how they make Speed Racer this super moral good guy. They wrap up everything in 30 minutes. It's really ridiculous on its surface. But then you notice other things. And this is going to sound really politically incorrect. I'm just going to put that out there. But I noticed some other things. And I've talked about this before, but I really, really noticed it now. Speed Racer, he wears these black shoes, these really bright red socks, white pants, an ascot, or like a handkerchief tied around his neck, a neckerchief, and mustard gloves, and he's never kissed Trixie. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Man, you nailed the outfit exactly right.
That's how well I know Speed Racer.
Mustard yellow, white
mustard
pants,
yellows,
black,
gray
shoes.
poupon colored.
Yeah.
Well, look, have you seen Racer X?
He's very manly.
You think you're going to be paying attention to Trixie while Racer X is
with all that
around?
With all that manhood and them tight white pants, and Racer X has this big chest, barrel chest. Yes, Racer X is a sexy dude. He's a sexy beast.
Yeah, Trixie's irrelevant.
But Trixie, the reason I bring this up, because Trixie throughout Speed Racer is jealous that Speed Racer is not showing her attention. In the cartoon, it's always supposedly some other woman that he's showing attention to. But he's really, really fixated on Racer X and every other guy in the story. I'm serious. You go back and look at it through adult eyes.
The clues are all there.
It is all there. I'm waiting for Speed Racer to come out next week.
How about
But
that?
wasn't Racer X his brother?
Yeah, but he didn't know that.
Oh.
Remember? Racer X,
Yeah.
in the show, he got into a fight with Pops Racer and he ran away. In the movie, he supposedly died.
Spoilers.
Well, they tell you that. Like
You didn't see it? Wait. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's not spoilers because it's actually in the second or third episode they explain the whole backstory of Speed Racer, Rex Racer.
I was gonna say he has not a similar outfit, but he's got the same like M on his chest,
and the letters are different.
Yeah.
It's if you know the original Japanese iteration, it's like Michi Go or something. I can't remember what it's called. But no, Speed Racer, he's dealing with some stuff internally. He's trying to find himself because he pays Trixie no attention, none, and she is fawning over him.
They should bring that movie back to theaters. You know how they're bringing back like old movies?
Yes. It was. I watched it. I was telling you, I watched the movie, the 2008 movies. It was way ahead of its time. It was it was just, you had to be a super Speed Racer fan to get all the Easter eggs and appreciate the subtleties in it. And it's a hard cartoon to adapt to the big screen, but the Wachowski, then brothers, now sisters, did a great job with it. And I appreciate the movie now more so than then. Go ahead, Mark.
Don't you find the monkey Chim Chim a little bit suspicious as well?
You mean in the TV show?
All of it, the whole scenario. What's the monkey doing there?
They never explain Chim Chim's existence, why anyone would have a pet chimpanzee and no one around them finds that odd.
Huge red flag.
Michael Jackson had a chimpanzee,
and we thought it was a red flag.
Yeah, okay.
Oh yeah,
that's the whole point.
Yeah.
It was a focus point for weirdness. You know, people didn't have, and they dressed up the chimpanzee, and it knew how to drive and talk and communicate. It was all weird.
Yeah, I don't know how to tell you this, Tuala, but pointing out that Michael Jackson did something doesn't really exonerate you from weirdness.
So, you know, if Speed Racer, if you're out there listening, it's okay. Come on out. Come on out. It's different now. That was back in 1967.
Yeah, who since Charles Nelson Riley wears a neckerchief? There you go.
I think he was about the only one. Fred Flintstone?
No, Fred from Scooby and the Gang.
Oh, yes, he did. Yes, he
totally did.
Well, since you're on the subject.
Yeah, I think Freddie took the Scooby van to some bathhouses, okay?
Freddie didn't have any interest in Daphne. And Daphne was fine as frog legs. Daphne had a body on her, and everybody knew about Velma.
Oh, don't sleep on Velma. Come on now.
Velma knew. Everybody knew, and Velma was out. She didn't say it, but Velma was out. Can't believe we're having this conversation.
There's nothing more important we could be talking about. Nothing.
Okay, so Speed Racer, Velma, Fred. He's on a Lolo.
Yeah.
Of course, Ernie and Bert.
Nobody's ever disputed that.
Okay.
No. Obviously, Ernie and Bert.
All right. Look, Lucy and Ricky slept in separate beds, and they were a couple, right?
Yep.
Ernie and Bert got to be at least 35 years old. Separate beds.
I thought they were in the same bed. Bert
What
and Ernie?
show were you watching?
Yeah, no, I don't remember that.
What?
Separate.
What? Wait, what?
Today, we're honoring our nation's heroes on Memorial Day with some of the best of Later with Mo Kelly on KFI AM 640, live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.